So today we're going to have a look at causality and correlation. So these are not the same thing. Correlation just means that two variables have some kind of association with them. Causality means that one of these variables directly affects the other. So let's have a look at an example and see whether we think that are they just related in some way, or does one actually affect the other? So Guy works at a petrol station and has noticed a relationship between the price of petrol and the number of sales in the day. So price in petrol's in cents, C, and number of sales per day along the y-axis. And so determine if there is a correlation between the two variables. Explain. I'd say there is a correlation. And could I give it more directly? What's pointing to the bottom right? It looks pretty linear. So I'd say that it is strong, negative, linear. Meaning as the price of petrol goes up, that the number of sales per day would go down. Alrighty. However, is there a causality, or is there any likelihood of a causality? Well, I would say yes. And the reason being that when you're going around and looking for fuel, if you see somewhere that's more expensive, you're probably less likely to go there than if you see somewhere that's quite cheap. That doesn't mean that no one's going there, it just means you're less likely to go there. So you can see in this example that yes, there is causality, as higher prices will mean less people want to buy the fuel. So there's one variable that is directly affecting the other. So this is in a case where there is causality and correlation. That's not always going to be the case. So after you've had a go at the question, then we're going to have a look at the second example. So Katie is wondering if there is a relationship between petrol prices and the maximum daily temperature. Determine if there is a correlation between the variables and explain. It looks like there's some correlation. It's probably not a strong correlation. It looks probably more like a moderate positive linear relationship. But it's not as clear-cut as the other one. The real question is there any causality between these relationships? Yeah, it seems as the maximum daily temperature goes up, petrol prices will go up. But the question is there actually causality? And I think in this case, it's unlikely that there is actually causality between these. I don't think that the maximum temperature really has much to do with petrol prices at all. So, although there is correlation, it is unlikely that the maximum daily temperature affects the petrol price or causes changes to the petrol price. However, it could be something where as the temperature goes up, people are using more air conditioning uses more fuel, and so since you're using more fuel, then people might be getting higher petrol prices because more people need fuel. But I don't think there's any direct causation between these two. There's only correlation. Alrighty, so there's a few questions for you to have a look at and just have a think about whether it does actually make sense for there to be correlation and causation, and then make sure you check your answers at the end. Alrighty, thanks for watching. See ya.